Potatoes,
Potatoes.
Hey guys, welcome to Console Choice. I'm Mark, and it's fair to say I'm a big fan of Lord of the Rings. So when I heard there was a Gollum game coming, I was intrigued, though somewhat dubious. After a number of delays, it finally released to the worst reviews since Cyberpunk 2077, reports of an unfinished and broken game poured in from every corner of the media. Despite some incredibly damning footage, I couldn't help but wonder if under the glaring visual issues, there might actually be a good game that just needed a bit more development time. So I've now played through the game to see for myself what the game could have been if development time had allowed. And you know what? It is actually mostly terrible, but not completely. The world design is in fact pretty solid. The dungeons of Barad-dûr, where you spend the first half of the game, are designed so that whenever you look up, you can see the foundations of the Dark Tower itself. Later, you'll climb up through some lower halls into the Hall of Grond, where Sauron's war machines are built, and hanging from the ceiling is the giant wolf's head itself, which is actually pretty cool. In the second half of the game, you'll be in the elven halls of Mirkwood, and these certainly feel elvish enough, and some of the exterior areas are actually kinda pretty. But then some of it looks like this. My word, that's bad. Traversing these thoughtfully designed locales is absolutely ruined, however, by poor controls that cause you to die repeatedly. There's actually a trophy for completing the game without dying, which is impossible to get. And uninspired traversal and stealth mechanics that make the original Assassin's Creed look polished. And the game is packed full of unnecessary filler sections. Towards the end of the game, you jump and climb through 3 rooms only to circle back to where you started without actually achieving anything, and then the story just magically continues. The game is further tarnished by NPCs that, thanks to not being finished, don't look like they belong on this plane of reality. I mean, look at this guy's face. Ugh. Now, the music is possibly one of the strongest points of the entire game. It really evokes the nature of the Gollum character with its eerie, tragic melody. It suits Middle-earth well enough. You won't find yourself humming it through the day, but it's not bad at all. Of course, it is spoiled by every time an enemy catches sight of you, there is a musical punctuation that just cuts across all the sound effects and the background music, and is actually quite jarring. Also, there are collectibles, but instead of being references to the works of Tolkien or, story-relevant items, they're just junk items, like bats' wings, teeth, and bits of cloth. The devs understood that players like collectibles, but they failed to understand that they need to be fun and relevant to the plot. Casting Gollum's voice actor was always going to be a crucial part of making this game. It's a shame Andy Serkis couldn't have been hired for the role, and I don't envy any actor that has to try and fill his shoes. Wayne Forrester does a good solid job. It's easy to tell when it's Gollum or Smeagol talking, and I didn't get bored or irritated with the character through the entire game. The rendition of the character isn't going to be for everyone, but I was more than happy with the performance.
What's the name of these, my precious? Just plants.
Of course, none of this matters because every other character's voice makes you want to turn the sound off.
Yes, we are here, the border of our realm.
Now here's the important bit. Everything that's wrong with this game, the bad controls, the glitches, that guy's face, could have been salvaged if the story was any good. But the entire game is marred by a bad story that doesn't flesh out Tolkien's world in any way that's meaningful, enjoyable, or even makes sense. So Gollum's living in the Mountains of Shadow on the border of Mordor. That's fun to say. Border of Mordor, border of Mordor, border of Mordor. Sorry. Then he gets captured and sent to Barad-dûr. The rest of the first half of the game is spent escaping Barad-dûr. They try to work in a plot with the Candleman, who runs the dungeons, his daughter, who's plotting something behind her father's back, and this thing with a bird that you create that's then used like twice. So in the second half of the game, Gollum's in the dungeons of Mirkwood in the realm of Thranduil, Legolas's father. Then the entire second half of the game is spent trying to find a way to escape. Which means level after level of scrambling around only to wind up back in your cell. This then becomes the most horrendous attempt to make the story more grandiose, as the Elven realm has a magic purple haze surrounding it for protection, so no one can get in or out, except of course the Candleman, his daughter, and a bum load of orcs, who want to kill Gollum and take the source of the magic shroud, so then Gollum decides to take down the source so he can escape and thwart the Candleman. He's helped by Mel.
Follows a green road so slowly. She is sleepy. Road is holy.
An elf, who's with you the entire second half of the game and is the single most irritating companion character to listen to ever. Yes, worse than Navi from Ocarina of Time.
Listen! Watch out!
Sweet lord. You succeed, and in the process, almost every character dies, presumably to explain why you've never heard of them in any other Middle-earth content, including the Candleman and his daughter, who you just find dead on the floor with no exposition or explanation as to what she was scheming behind her father's back, or what actually killed her. You also get the choice of whether to kill your bird companion, and no, I didn't. There are at least some fun trophies to get in the game. I died for the first time in Mordor, which simultaneously got me the Welcome to Mordor trophy, and the Wait, not yet trophy, because this death was by falling into lava. I really tried to give this game its dues, to give it a chance to show me what the development team were going for. After all, it's a tough industry to work in, particularly at the moment, and I thought their work deserved a chance. But when it boils down to it, the best I can say is that the game does an excellent job of mirroring the character it's based on. You can be as nice as you like to the Smeagol side, but sooner or later, the Gollum side will bite off your fingers and destroy anything precious it can find. So what's your favourite Lord of the Rings game? Shadow of Mordor, its sequel, or you're a good old Lego Lord of the Rings fan all the way? Let me know in the comments below. Hit like and subscribe if you fancy. Thanks very much for watching Console Choice. I'm Mark. Have a good one.